Well, hello. I've been wanting for the longest time to do a explanation and demo video on the talk box. And the reason I've been wanting to do this is it seems that there's a lot of misconceptions, both among guitarists and non-guitarists, about what this is, how this works, and how to. I don't guess there's a proper or improper way to use it, but how to properly use one, how to set it up, what do you need to use one. And this is an old school, classic, Heil sound. I think these are made by Dunlop now, if I'm not mistaken. Talk box. This is the most basic form of talk box that you could get. This will require a separate amp and cabinet, head and cabinet combo. Obviously you have to have a PA to use one of these, and that goes for pretty much any model, and we'll get back into that. But there are some now that actually have a amp built in to here, and you can use it kind of like any other stomp box. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't have one in front of me. So what I do have is just the old school talk box that you've heard on numerous recordings. And what I want to do first is just take the bottom off this guy and kind of show you what we're dealing with here. This is exciting. Watching this crazy dude unscrew feet on this giant metal enclosure. Now this is held on by some magnetic force because all this is a giant horn driver, which is what we're seeing on top here. This is just a collar for the tube that goes on the end of the horn driver. There is a single pole, single throw switch, or single pole, double throw, switch in here, and also a capacitor to roll off. I'm probably going to misspeak, but I believe some of the low end. But anyways, that's it. It's a speaker in a box. And I've got an input jack and I have an output jack. And then what happens is when I put this in my speaker cable chain, I will plug from my head over here into talk box, red for head, and then from the talk box to my speaker cabinet. And when this is bypassed, I will have my regular amp setup playing through my cabinet, and when I stomp on this guy, then I will have everything cut off to the speaker cabinet, and everything basically comes through the speaker. Now, a couple of misconceptions that a lot of people have in general is they think that you're making a lot of the sounds with your mouth, and you're actually making no sound with your mouth. And one of the things that I tend to actually do as a bad habit is I forget to breathe. And I thought I was completely psycho until a few months ago when I read a Frampton article, and he said he does the same thing, so I don't feel too stupid now about it. If Frampton forgets to breathe, and I think that I'm allowed that as well because I'm nowhere near what Frampton would be, obviously. A couple other things about the bits and pieces here is the tube. Now this is not actually the tube that came with my talk box. This is actually the size that it came with. And after about 14, 15 years of usage, it kind of was pretty nasty. I'm not going to dig it out. But I went to your local hardware store, and I bought some tubing. And then I also bought one size smaller. I want to say this might be 3/8, so 5/8 to 3/8, if I'm not mistaken. And just slip fit these together so I could have a little bit of a more manageable size tube. And I haven't determined if it really makes a difference in the sound or not, but it's definitely more comfortable. And I'd like to think it comes out a little cleaner as a result. So the reason we have the tube is because, again, you're not making any noise with your mouth. So I'm going to have guitar sounds come up through this tube into my head hole here. And then the only thing I'm doing is I'm going to reshape my mouth to change the tonality of whatever's coming out of this tube. And this is the dumbest thing that you'll probably ever do, but if you have a battery-powered toothbrush, next time you brush your teeth, just do that. That probably look ridiculous, right? But you'll hear it because you'll hear the, the humming of the toothbrush, and you'll hear the wow, 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 and that's what you're doing with this. You're just getting your guitar sound is actually coming up through the tube, and you are manipulating that, with the shape of your mouth. One other thing that I saw that actually floored me is somebody commented on a video at some point in time that, oh man, the talk box, that was like the auto-tune of the 70s. No, nothing like that. You're not using your voice at all. You are playing all of the notes on your guitar, and you are using your mouth to change the sound. One other thing people get confused a lot is it's not a vocoder. Again, a vocoder, you have a microphone, and that is actually a modulation effect for your vocals. Again, this is just a modulation effect, analog in the most carnal sense, I guess. But you are using your guitar sound and using your body to change the tone of that sound. So I'm going to get this all hooked back up. We'll play around with it and show you what we have. All right, we are all hooked up here. I have playing a 5150 custom built 212, and my signal chain right now, as I explained earlier, I've got my guitar into my amp, my speaker cable from my amp to my talk box, from my talk box back to my speaker cabinet. And I actually have the talk box on right now. Let me bypass it, and you'll hear this wall of white noise. I have this actually pretty loud because I'm not going to be using any outside amplification for the talk box while I do this video, so I've got this cranked up. And even at stage volume, you need a microphone in your setup to actually amplify that sound out to the audience. And normally most people would just Velcro it to their mic stand. That's what I just use, little Velcro strips from auto parts store or whatever. And you push it out of the way when you're not using it and grab it when you want it, and it's holding on to it there for you, because it actually just happened on the previous take. It fell completely out of my mouth because I wasn't paying attention. You kind of need that extra support there. Let me go ahead and turn the talk box on here. And just to kind of show you what I was talking about here previously, I have my tube, and my guitar sound is now coming out of the tube. Poor man's Leslie. Yeah, good times. You probably can't even hear that. And then what you want to do to start off here with your talk box, I just want to place my tube in between my molars. And by the way, nothing you will ever do in your entire life will make you look as ridiculous as when you're using a talk box. Just heads up. So, I'm going to place this in between my molars. I'm going to gently hold it. If I wanted to completely mute the sound, I could bite down with it, close my mouth, anything like that. But I'm just kind of holding it in place with my molars. And then I'm just going to change the shape of my mouth as I play to change the tonality. So something like... And that's great. But sounds a little flat. And this is the one thing that I told anybody who's interested in getting started with TalkBox. If you want that big, thick, sound, excuse me, I have no way to say this without sounding like a complete weirdo, but you have to open up your throat. And sorry, I have no other way to put that. But that gets you, instead of your, to your... No sound with my mouth. It's all the guitar. So that's kind of just your absolute basics there. This is a really fun thing, play around with if you're a gigging musician. This gets people to stop talking about what they're talking about and look at the stage. If that's gimmicky, so be it. People love it. I enjoy it. It's a fun tool. It can be overplayed, sure. But especially if you're in a cover band and you're playing some of those old 70s tunes and stuff, that you gotta have it. If you're going to cover those songs, you're not going to replicate that exactly with anything else. So that's kind of it. If you have any questions or anything about the TalkBox in general, or specifics about the setup or technique, feel free to hit me up and I'll do my best to address them. Thanks. completely ridiculous.